What's going on, everybody? This is Brian Mazique, aka Unique Mazique, the hardest working man in sports and gaming, and we're back with another episode of Ask Mazique. As usual, if you want to be down, tweet at me at Unique Mazique and use the hashtag Ask Mazique. Today's question comes from the Black Ant 84's, aka Antonio Barrett, and he says, "Do you think that the Pelicans are going to trade Anthony Davis this season, and if they do, to who?" So here's the thing. I don't think that the Pelicans are going to trade Anthony Davis this year unless they get absolutely floored with an offer. And I honestly think, and I mentioned this on At Me Bro. So if you guys have not seen the episode of At Me Bro, make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you can see those videos when they drop. They drop every Thursday, right? It's myself and Nelson Blake talking NBA, talking sports, talking gaming, right? There's a few teams that I think have a package that they could put together, a collection of talent and draft assets that I think that they could put together that could potentially entice the Pelicans to move this season. But I think that the Pelicans are more inclined to chill, to wait until the offseason, try to get a gauge onto whether Anthony Davis plans on re-signing with the Pelicans. What are their chances? I think they're going to want to know that. And then once they get a read on that, if they don't already have it, but once they get a good read on what his plans are and what he wants to do, I think that's when they will make that decision. But I do think that they could get approached by either the Celtics, the Lakers, or the Bulls. Now, I know what y'all saying. I know y'all saying, oh, he's going to try to throw Chicago in there, right? So check it out. I believe that a package of Wendell Carter Jr., Chris Dunn, Jabari Parker, only so the money can match up, because it's not an asset. Jabari Parker can come off the books at the end of this season, and so there's a team option for that second year. But he makes $20 million a year, so they are going to need that to try to make this deal work. So I said Jabari Parker, Chris Dunn, Wendell Carter Jr., who I'm not enthused about giving up, but we're talking about Anthony Davis, and the Bulls' first-round draft pick this season to the Pelicans for Anthony Davis, and maybe a throw-in player, somebody making salary work, somebody to make the rosters balance back out, because you got to have a certain amount of active players on your roster. So that, to me, that's a significant deal for a guy who you're probably going to lose at the end of the season. Right? So, but if I'm the Bulls, I would want to do that deal now more so than I would want to do it in the offseason. And the reason being is because I get an opportunity to try to woo Anthony Davis. I get an opportunity to throw everything I can throw at Anthony Davis across the board to try to get him to fall in love. He's from Chicago, so that's one thing. But For some guys, that might not be a plus. Some guys might, I don't want to play at home, the headaches, whatever. We don't know who Anthony Davis is in that regard. But I'm telling you, if I'm the Bulls, I strongly consider doing that. Because you might say, well, what would they have left? Well, what they would have left is Anthony Davis, Lauri Markkanen, and Zach LaVine, and I'm going to say this name, and I'm not trying to call him a cornerstone or anything, but I think he's a kid that has proven that he can play in the NBA at a decent level. Ryan Arcidiacono, like that kid playing with Anthony Davis, with the effort that he gives, the way he shoots the ball, the way he runs an offense, I'm not sure that I'm not saying this guy can be my point guard if I have this team around me, this team that I can put around. Now, obviously, they still need to develop a small forward. Perhaps that is Chandler Hutchison. Perhaps it is. Or perhaps they need to, look at trying to acquire that in free agency or something to that effect. Whatever you got to do, right? But I think a core there is there. Now, here's the thing. Anthony Davis could say he doesn't want us to play in Chicago. He could say he doesn't want to play with anybody who the Pelicans would trade him to. So then in that situation, then now the team that acquires Anthony Davis during this season, this is the reason why I would want to get him now, because if I want to get as much of a look and have him to have as much of a look with this new roster, with his new teammates as possible. So that's only if I'm the Bulls, right? Because this is the only way I feel like that is if I was a team that really felt like they were on the outside looking in, trying to get him to commit long term, right? So if you do that and then you get a read that Anthony Davis doesn't want to re-sign with you, you can then make the decision whether or not you want to move him yourself. So now you still get to bring in some assets for our team. So they say there's a team that wants to take that same gamble, right? They want to see, if we can get him to stay. And obviously it's going to be a team who feels that they really, really, he's going to commit. But that's an option. That's it's out there, right? I know because the Bulls probably don't want to get rid of Wendell Carter Jr. I mean, I wouldn't call it getting rid of him, but you do what you got to do to acquire really transcendent talent players, and I would call Anthony Davis that kind of guy. But the more usual suspects are the Los Angeles Lakers and the Boston Celtics. So we've heard all of the rumors about Anthony Davis playing with LeBron and blah, blah, blah. We've heard all of those rumors, right? And we know that there probably is some sort of validity to the conversation, right? So if I'm the Lakers, right, I don't know that I give up a ton of assets for him right now, because there's a good chance you can sign him on your own after the 1920 season, okay? The problem with that is that the Lakers tried this before with Paul George, thought they had him sold up, and he stayed in Oklahoma City. So the Lakers have to ask themselves, do they want to try this again? Remember, the Lakers will have other options. The Lakers will have Kawhi Leonard, that they could go after in this offseason. You got other guys, Klay Thompson, all kinds of people that are going to be available. Not all kinds of people, but some good players. Kevin Durant could be a free agent and probably is going to be a free agent. So it's going to be crazy. And the Lakers, trust me, could figure out a way and could convince themselves that acquiring any of those guys that I just mentioned and putting them next to LeBron in his twilight years would be something significant, right? Now, wouldn't it be so much better, right, if they could add a truly elite level talent like a Durant, like a Kawhi, like a Klay Thompson, like a player like that, without having to get rid of a Kyle Kuzma, a Brandon Ingram, who's really not been much of a factor, I don't think. I think he's the most expendable, but he's probably right about now, I think Brandon Ingram has less trade value than Kyle Kuzma. That's just me. But I don't know. We'll see. Even Lonzo Ball, I don't know, if I can keep those guys, that's a nice young talent group. I mean, honestly, I'm all for letting go of Brandon Ingram if I'm the Lakers. I think Brandon Ingram's a decent player. But I don't think he'll ever be that Kevin Durant style guy that people thought that he might have a chance to grow to. He just doesn't have that dog motor in him like Kevin Durant. He doesn't have that it thing that takes him to that next level. He's not even as fluid of an athlete as Kevin Durant, even though their body types are somewhat similar, right? I'm letting him go. And to be honest, I'm letting Brandon Ingram go sooner rather than later if I'm the Lakers and trying to get assets in there, because I don't think his trade value was going up. I really don't. So when he's ready and able to be traded, I think about that. Now, if I'm the Celtics, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing there. What a package. I mean, the Celtics have 3 first-round picks. This is the reason why they have the kill shot, right? The Celtics could come to the Pelicans and say, we'll give you all 3 of these first-round picks. Jaylen Brown, Terry Rozier, and they'd probably have to get, honestly, if you really wanted to make the money work, you really wanted to make it work, right? I'd come to them and I'd say, we give you Jaylen Brown, Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward, and 2 of those first-round picks. And give us Anthony Davis. And Pelicans might have to throw something in to make it work from a money standpoint. I'd have to look at the salaries, but that's the type of offer I'd expect to get. And then, of course, they have to convince Anthony Davis to stay in Boston, which is a team that we think he'd be interested in playing with Jason Tatum and Kyrie Irving. I hope I said Jaylen Brown, not Jason Tatum, because that's what I meant in terms of the trade part. I mean, man, Kyrie Irving, think about this starting five. Kyrie Irving, Jason Tatum, Anthony Davis, Al Horford. I mean, even if you put Marcus Smart out there with him, wow. It's pretty nasty. I mean, that's pretty nasty, you know. I'm not the biggest Kyrie Irving fan. I'm not like on him like a lot of people are, but that's pretty filthy. That's pretty filthy. That's pretty nasty. I mean, the versatility on defense across that front line is just something else. You know, the length and versatility. It's just really something. That's a tough team to deal with, right? So the Celtics, I think, have the kill shot because of the 3 first-round picks. Because if you're getting rid of Anthony Davis, you want to secure as much young assets as possible. And who's got more young assets than the Celtics with 3 first-round picks? Now, those 3 first-round picks are probably not going to be like, I think maybe one of them has a chance to be in the lottery. The other two is like, the other one's like mid, the other one's like late. But it's still 3 first-round picks. And you still be giving Rozier. You know, and you still be giving Jaylen Brown, who I think has a really solid ceiling, a really good ceiling. Not a star, but, you know, and then you go Gordon Hayward, who, you know, this is his first year back from a catastrophic injury, right? And he's been healthy, perhaps another season and a new start in New Orleans and everything, you know, something comes together for him. Here, put it like this. There's no way for the Pelicans to come out of this, I think, like happy at first, because you're not gonna find equal trade value for Anthony Davis. You're just not. Like I can't think of a player that you could get that would say, oh well, we got him. I mean, when you consider Anthony Davis's production and his age, I mean, you do have to look at the fact that he's been injured a lot. But it's tough to find the guy that matches up from an age standpoint and from a production standpoint where you'd be like, okay, well, yeah, you know, I mean, maybe Embiid, maybe, you know, Ben Simmons, maybe because of the upside, but Ben Simmons' production hasn't been anywhere near Anthony Davis. He's not anywhere near as complete of a player as Anthony Davis. Embiid's like the closest thing I can think of, right? So it'll be interesting. It's going to be interesting, but I'm more inclined to think that the Pelicans hold on to Anthony Davis for now, and the trade talks pick up a lot around the draft. That's what I think. Because the other thing is, the Pelicans may want to take a look at what the first round of the draft is going to look like. What does that mean? What could they possibly do? Maybe they want to acquire those 3 picks, use them to move up to get a specific guy. Maybe they really want Zion. Or maybe they really want R.J. Barrett. Or maybe they really want Bobo, which I don't think that's the case. But maybe they do. And, you know, and they're trying to figure out how to get there. So there's a lot of ways to pursue this if you're the Pelicans. But I think that they probably hold on to him. And like I said, the draft, the trade for Anthony Davis, the talk really gets serious and around draft time. So that's my take on it. As always, I appreciate you watching. God bless and peace.
Pocket, I'll be weak. I'm rather unique.